Paul Doyle seemed to embrace the concept of confession.
They kidnapped Kershaw. They tried to kill him.
I just want to
They
go
killed
back
two
to
people.
prison.
Right.
All Justice really needed to do was listen to the right guy at the right time. It took the jury only 14 minutes to sentence them both to death.
The movie opens with a muscular man exercising on the roof of a building, and his name is Daniel Lugo. Bodybuilding is the most important thing in his life, as he is focused on making his body bigger and stronger. While he is training on the rooftop, he suddenly hears police sirens coming from below, and the sound immediately catches his attention. So Daniel quickly starts running, trying to escape, and he does everything he can to get away, but he cannot avoid the police for long, so they catch him and arrest him. The scene shifts to the flashback, where we learn more about Daniel Lugo's life as he works as a fitness trainer, and since childhood, he has worked hard to build the perfect body. Over time, Daniel becomes a skilled trainer and gets a job at a gym, and the gym is owned by John Misi, where Daniel is extremely dedicated to his work, as the physical transformations of his clients are impressive. He does not just teach people how to exercise, but he also motivates them and encourages them to improve their lives, and because of Daniel's energy and enthusiasm, the atmosphere in the gym is always lively and positive, and everything seems to be going well.
Little blobs of blood with awesome potential. I was not most people.
Come on, big man.
If you're willing to do the work, you can have anything.
However, deep inside, Daniel has another feeling growing, and that is greed. And this greed starts becoming stronger when a very wealthy businessman named Victor Kershaw joins the gym. Victor lives a luxurious life as he has expensive cars, lots of money, and enjoys a lifestyle that most people can only dream about. And every time Daniel sees Victor's wealth, he becomes more jealous, and Daniel starts asking himself why he did not have the same money and luxury that Victor had. He feels that his own hard work has brought him very little in return, as he has no expensive house, no luxury car, and no social respect, and the more he compares himself to Victor, the more frustrated he becomes.
Never a big fitness guy. I know it's important, but you know what I really don't like about weights?
Can you lift this?
Guys, I'm a drug smuggler eluding the DEA. You ever try our oven-toasted roast beef and cheese? Stock trading, real estate, own a few greyhounds for racing.
Maybe yourself ought to spend some of it on a salad.
You know who invented salad? Poor people.
One day, Daniel watches a motivational speaker on television where the speaker's name is Johnny Woo, and Johnny is telling people that if they are not successful or wealthy, the problem is their mindset, and according to him, anyone can achieve whatever they want if they think differently and take action. These words have a powerful effect on Daniel, and he cannot stop thinking about them.
I just thought it'd be cool to see France, but I knew that wasn't ever going to happen unless I did something about it.
The very next day, Daniel attends one of Johnny Woo's seminars in person, and during the seminar, he becomes extremely inspired and excited, and he feels as if he has finally discovered the secret to success. Unfortunately, instead of motivating him in a positive way, the seminar pushes his thinking in a dangerous direction. Daniel decides that he is going to change his life no matter what it takes, so he creates a plan, and his plan has 3 steps, that is, get close to a rich person, gain that person's trust, and take over and enjoy that wealthy lifestyle. And the rich person Daniel chooses as his target is Victor Kershaw.
The 3-finger plan. Finger 1, find a guy with money. Make him give you everything he owns. Finger 3, make America a better place.
But Daniel knows he cannot carry out such a plan alone, so he turns to his friend Adrian Doorbal, and Adrian is also a bodybuilder, but he has problems of his own as he uses steroids regularly, and his mental state is not very stable, so when Daniel first tells him about the idea, Adrian refuses as he thinks it is a bad plan and does not want to get involved.
You ever just get tired of being where you are, Adrian? No. I mean in life, man. Where you are in life. Don't you think we deserve better?
However, Daniel keeps talking to him, and just like Johnny Woo influenced Daniel's thinking, Daniel now starts influencing Adrian's mind, and he slowly convinces him that this is their chance to become rich and finally get the life they believe they deserve, until Adrian finally agrees to join the plan.
Adrian loved the idea.
Now Daniel needs a third partner, and this is when Paul Doyle enters the story, as Paul has a troubled past because he was once involved in criminal activities and spent much of his life surrounded by drugs and bad decisions. However, he has recently changed his life, and he has become religious and is trying to live as a better person. Despite this, Daniel manages to convince Paul to join the scheme as well, and with Daniel, Adrian, and Paul together, the team is now complete, but Daniel still is not satisfied, so he decides to involve another person named Sorina, who works as a dancer, and Daniel lies to her and tells her that they are working on a music video project, and because of this false story, Sorina unknowingly becomes connected to their plan. Meanwhile, Adrian continues struggling with the side effects of steroid use as his health is getting worse and his personal life is also falling apart, and a nurse named Robin tries to help him and support him through his problems, but Adrian remains trapped in a difficult situation. Now the group is ready to carry out the kidnapping, and the only thing they still need is weapons, so the three men go to a gun store to buy firearms. At first, the store refuses to sell them weapons, and the situation becomes awkward, and it looks like their plan might fail before it even starts. At that moment, Paul steps in and takes control of the conversation, and he claims that he is a former Marine and speaks confidently, and his performance convinces the people at the store, and eventually the group gets the weapons they need. With the guns acquired, the real operation begins.
That moment, I knew I assembled the right crew.
And their target is still Victor Kershaw, and the plan seems simple. They will go to Victor's house in the evening, kidnap him, and finish the job quickly. Feeling confident, the group prepares themselves and heads toward Victor's luxurious mansion. However, when they arrive, everything immediately goes wrong as the large party is taking place at Victor's house. The property is full of guests, and people are everywhere, and Daniel and his partners quickly realize that attempting a kidnapping in the middle of such a crowded event would be extremely dangerous, as one small mistake could expose them and bring the police directly to them. Seeing the risk, they decide to abandon the attempt and leave without doing anything, and after discussing the situation, they come up with a new idea. Instead of kidnapping Victor at his house, they will capture him somewhere on the road when he is alone, and their second attempt takes place outside a supermarket. They wait for Victor and prepare to strike, but unfortunately, once again, things do not go according to plan as their timing is terrible and the situation becomes chaotic and difficult to control. And before they can successfully grab him, Victor manages to slip away from them and escape, and the second attempt ends in failure.
I told you to check the license plate!
It was an honest mistake!
So we thought it was the same car!
Now they prepare for a third attempt, and this time they are determined not to make any mistakes. During the third operation, Adrian wears a strange disguise and approaches Victor.
The fuck do you want?
Instead, he laughs at Adrian and makes fun of him because, to Victor, Adrian looks ridiculous, almost like a circus performer. But the joke does not last long, as in the very next moment, Adrian uses a stun device and delivers an electric shock to Victor, and the shock immediately overwhelms him, causing him to lose control, and this is the opportunity they have been waiting for. As soon as Victor is stunned, Daniel and Adrian quickly grab him, and they force him into their vehicle before he has any chance to react. Then, they drive him straight to their warehouse, and at the warehouse, Paul is already waiting for them, and the kidnapping has finally succeeded. Once Victor is brought inside, they blindfold him so he cannot see where he is or who is around him. Feeling confused and frightened, Victor starts asking questions as he nervously asks what they want from him. Daniel disguises his voice to sound more threatening, and he tells Victor that rich people like him come to the city, enjoy all the opportunities, and live luxurious lives, while hardworking people like them are left struggling with nothing. However, Victor is not an ordinary victim. Even while blindfolded, he quickly realizes who is behind the kidnapping, and he recognizes Daniel's voice.
You're broke, you dumb shit, because you never went to college. We're gonna spend the rest of your life obsessing over pectoral muscles.
Then he directly identifies him as Daniel Lugo, and the moment Daniel hears this, he becomes furious. In anger, Daniel removes Victor's blindfold and tells him that since he already knows who they are, there is no point hiding anymore, and Daniel openly declares that everything Victor owns will soon belong to him, and he says that Victor will lose all his wealth and end up begging on the streets. Hearing this worries Paul and Adrian, and until now there was still some distance between them and the victim, but now Victor has clearly identified all of them, and if he ever gets free, he can tell the police exactly who kidnapped him. Daniel begins the next stage of his plan as he wants Victor to legally transfer all of his wealth and property to him, and to achieve this, Daniel forces Victor to make phone calls to his office, and Victor is made to give instructions to his secretary and employees while Daniel carefully controls what Victor says so that the business affairs start moving in the direction he wants. The kidnappers also force Victor to contact his wife and pressure her toward a divorce, making it easier for them to gain control over his assets, and day after day, Victor is mentally broken down. During this period, Paul behaves differently from Daniel and Adrian.
You should be proud. There you go.
And he speaks to him more gently and sometimes treats him with basic kindness, and compared to the others, Paul seems more human. Victor quickly notices this difference, and he realizes that Paul can be influenced emotionally, and instead of fighting him, Victor starts building a friendship with Paul, and the two begin having conversations, and over time an unusual bond develops between them.
They're sweet guys. You just don't know them yet, but thank you for the compliment.
Daniel is enjoying what he believes is his new life, as he spends time with Serena and continues lying to her, and Daniel tells her that he is actually a CIA agent working on secret operations, so Serena believes his stories and becomes impressed by him.
CIA Daniel? That is so
No.
Daniel then brings Serena even deeper into his activities, and one reason for this is to distract Paul and keep his attention away from Victor, because Daniel is becoming concerned about the friendship growing between them, and one day inside the warehouse, Victor suddenly tries to attack Paul. And afterward, Paul looks at Victor and says something surprising, and he tells him that he actually likes him, but regardless of that, he still has a job to do.
Jesus Christ himself has blessed me with many gifts. One of them is knocking someone the fuck out!
Time continues to pass, and 3 weeks go by, and despite everything he has endured, Victor still refuses to sign the legal documents that would transfer his property and assets, and Daniel's patience finally runs out. Desperate to get what he wants, he begins using increasingly cruel torture methods, as sometimes Victor is burned with hot objects, and other times he is hung upside down and subjected to more physical and psychological abuse. The kidnappers keep trying new ways to force his cooperation, and even after all this suffering, Victor continues resisting for as long as he can, but eventually the torture becomes too much, and Victor reaches his breaking point. Physically exhausted, emotionally shattered, and unable to endure any more pain, he finally gives in, and he signs the documents, and Daniel is overwhelmed with excitement. Believing he has finally won, he immediately takes the signed papers to an office to be officially legalized and processed. Everything seems to be going according to his plan, but when Daniel arrives at the office, he discovers a new problem waiting for him. The staff explains that the documents are not valid without proper notarization, and both parties must officially appear and confirm the transfer before the paperwork can be accepted. Daniel suddenly remembers that the manager at his gym also works as a notary.
You're still a notary, aren't you?
Yeah, technically, I guess. Why?
Daniel uses a mixture of lies, manipulation, and promises of benefits, and eventually, the manager agrees. Because of this, the paperwork is completed successfully. Daniel officially becomes the legal owner of Victor's property, money, and assets. But another major problem still remains, and that is, Victor is still alive. And even worse, Victor knows exactly who kidnapped him, and if he is released, he will go straight to the police and expose everyone involved. Daniel decides there is only one solution left, and that is Victor must be killed.
But this guy, he knows who I am. He could ID me. All right, that's gonna lead them to you.
So the group creates a plan that they will force Victor to drink a huge amount of alcohol until he loses consciousness, and then they will stage a car accident so it looks like he died while driving drunk. Paul strongly disagrees with the idea, as during the weeks of captivity he has developed sympathy for Victor and he does not want him to die. However, Daniel argues that they have gone too far to stop now, and he tells Paul that emotions no longer matter and that they must finish the job, and eventually Paul gives in. The group forces alcohol into Victor and places him inside a vehicle, and following their plan, they crash the car. After the accident, everyone believes Victor is finally dead, but then something unexpected happens. Victor survives, as his seatbelt protects him and saves his life. The kidnappers cannot believe it, and after everything Victor has endured, he is still alive. So Daniel and his team become frustrated and desperate, and they decide that this time there can be no mistakes, and they must kill him once and for all. Following a new plan, they cover Victor's vehicle with gasoline and set it on fire. And everyone assumes that no one could possibly survive such a blast, but yet incredibly Victor survives again, and Daniel, Adrian, and Paul are shocked by his unbelievable luck. Victor is taken to the hospital and admitted there, and while he is in the hospital, he tells the police everything about what happened to him, but the police do not believe his story, as they think he is not reliable because of the way he is acting, his high blood alcohol level, and also because he is from Colombia, which they wrongly associate with drug trafficking, and because of these reasons, they ignore his complaint. After this, Victor contacts a semi-retired private investigator named Ed Du Bois, and he listens carefully to Victor's situation and realizes that if Victor's story is real, then Daniel and his gang may try to finish the job by killing him in the hospital. And because of this, Ed warns Victor.
Hospital's a very public place and anybody could gain access to your room.
I wanted to stay undead.
I'd get the hell out of there. Fast.
and the warning turns out to be correct. Not long afterward, Daniel and his associates arrive at the hospital, and they intend to locate Victor, but when they get there, Victor is already gone, and once again he has escaped from them. At the same time, the police still do not have enough solid evidence to arrest anyone, and as a result, Daniel and his team remain completely free, and believing they have gotten away with everything, they begin enjoying Victor's stolen wealth as they spend his money, drive his cars, and live in luxury, and for the first time in their lives, they feel rich and powerful. Adrian begins settling down with the nurse Robin, and although his health problems continue getting worse, he ignores them and focuses on enjoying his new lifestyle. Paul and Serena are also enjoying themselves and living without worrying about consequences. And as for Daniel, he feels that all of his dreams have finally come true, as he now has money, status, expensive possessions, and the respect he always wanted. But this happiness is not going to last. On the other side of the story, Ed has made an important decision as he is going to help Victor and uncover the truth, where Victor has left the hospital and is receiving private medical treatment. Ed meets him there, and Victor tells him the entire story in detail, from the kidnapping to the torture, the forced property transfer, and the murder attempts. And after hearing everything, Ed begins gathering evidence against Daniel and his gang, and he starts investigating carefully and looking for proof that can expose them. Meanwhile, Daniel continues building a positive public image, and he acts like a successful businessman and respected fitness expert. He holds meetings, trains people, and presents himself as a role model in the community. To outsiders, he appears to be an honest and respectable man, but Ed is watching from a distance. Ed now comes up with a plan to get closer to Daniel, so he goes to the gym and introduces himself as an ordinary, normal guy, and he starts talking to Daniel, and to test him, Ed casually mentions Victor's name, and this confuses Daniel for a moment.
Who's that?
Victor Kershaw.
Meanwhile, Paul starts going back to his old lifestyle again as he returns to drugs, violence, and careless behavior, and he spends all the money he got from the kidnapping and robbery. Very quickly, he becomes broke again and realizes he needs more money. At the same time, Adrian is preparing for his wedding and also needs money, and because of this, Paul and Adrian go back to Daniel and suggest another kidnapping plan targeting another rich businessman. And at first, Daniel gets angry because they have already taken huge risks, but slowly he agrees to the idea. On the other side, Victor contacts John, the notary, and threatens him because he played a role in legalizing the stolen property transfer, so John becomes scared and vents his frustration on Daniel.
He wants his stuff back. He wants all of it. He wants the whole nut.
Daniel then tries to find Victor's location, and he forces John to call Victor so he can track him down. However, Victor refuses to reveal his location and keeps changing where he stays, and Daniel only realizes that someone is now actively hunting them down, and that person is Ed. Ed goes to the police and tells them everything, and at first, the police do not believe him, but when he shows evidence, they finally take the case seriously, and for Victor's safety, Ed brings him to his own home. Meanwhile, Daniel decides to continue his criminal activities and plans another kidnapping, and their new target is a businessman named Griga. So Daniel and his team approach Griga with a fake investment plan, and Griga is not fully convinced, but he still listens to them.
Communication market, we own it, we guarantee it. You're in ground floor entry, boom, skyrocket.
And later, he is invited to Adrian's house to hear more details about the investment. At Adrian's house, Griga demands to meet the board of directors before making any deal, and this makes Daniel extremely angry because there is actually no board at all, and in rage, Daniel attacks Griga. During the chaos, a weight plate accidentally falls on Griga's head, and he dies instantly. Everyone is shocked, and Daniel becomes nervous. At that moment, Griga's wife arrives, which makes the situation even worse. But Paul and Adrian control her and sedate her, knocking her unconscious. Daniel now realizes he has made a huge mistake, but it is too late to go back. To hide the crime, Daniel orders Adrian to place the body in a bathtub filled with ice and remove all evidence. But Daniel does not stop there, as he also goes to Griga's house to steal money. Daniel and Paul try to open Griga's locker, but the code does not work, and meanwhile Griga's wife wakes up and tries to attack Adrian. But Adrian injects her again, but this time she overdoses and dies.
Her soul has left her body.
When Daniel hears this, he becomes even more panicked, and everything is now out of control, as there is no money. Multiple deaths have happened, and the police are getting closer. But still, Daniel steals 2 expensive cars and tries to manage the situation. Now, the biggest problem is how to dispose of the bodies, so they bring a large cutting machine. But it does not work, and the situation becomes worse and worse, and they have no plan left. Forced into a brutal decision, Daniel takes an axe and starts cutting the bodies into pieces.
Go, 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 get it, get it, get it, get it.
and they then take the pieces to a remote village area and throw them into a river so that no evidence remains. But slowly, everything begins to come out. Bloodstains are found in Adrian's house, blood-covered clothes are discovered in the trash, which becomes a major mistake, and police also receive reports about Griga and his wife going missing. And during the investigation, they reach Ed, who immediately understands that Daniel and his gang are responsible. The police move into full action mode, and a special task force is created. The operation begins, and Adrian and Paul are arrested separately, and now only Daniel Lugo is left. The story returns to the opening scene where Daniel is running from the police, and he is finally caught but once again manages to escape using his cleverness. And Daniel then flees to the Bahamas because Victor once mentioned he had secret bank accounts there, as Daniel believes this is his last chance to get rich again. Ed learns about Daniel's plan and follows him by helicopter, and in the Bahamas, Daniel goes to the bank and accesses Victor's secret locker. But when he opens it, he finds only childhood items and personal items, no money, no gold, nothing valuable, and Daniel's dream completely collapses. Police arrive immediately, and Daniel tries to run again, but this time he is not lucky, as Victor is also there, and upon seeing Daniel, and finally, Daniel Lugo is arrested, and the court trial begins. Adrian's wife, Serena, testifies against Daniel. And at first, Daniel believes he will escape punishment because he tried to erase all evidence. But slowly, the truth comes out. Letters, records, and especially Paul Doyle's testimony expose everything, and Paul becomes a government witness and reveals the full story in court. The case is over, and the final judgment is announced.
Mr. Doyle was given only 15 years. It took the jury only 14 minutes to sentence them both to death.
And that ends the story. Which parts did you like or dislike? Share in the comments section. Hope you enjoyed it, and as always, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.